In a time, nestled amongst mountains that burped clouds of cotton candy and valleys overflowing with rivers of chocolate milk, lived Princess Penelope. Unlike other princesses who waltzed in ball gowns that shimmered like a million fireflies and wore tiaras adorned with sparkling sugar plums, Penelope had a rather unconventional talent. She could burp. Oh, not just any burp, mind you. Penelope could burp with the booming force of a hungry ogre after a 10-course feast of giant gummy bears. She could burp melodies that would make even the most seasoned court jester erupt in laughter. She could even burp tiny bubbles that floated around like shimmering soap balloons, each one filled with a different comical sound. A tiny trumpet toot, a surprised mouse squeak, or even a grumpy old man's grumble. However, in the land of Lollipop Lane, where etiquette was as strict as frosting on a cupcake, Penelope's talent was not exactly celebrated. King Reginald the Refined, a man with a perpetually furrowed brow and a voice that sounded like a permanently startled owl, would clutch his jeweled scepter every time Penelope unleashed a particularly mighty gurgle. Queen Gertrude the Graceful, a woman who could decorate a gingerbread house so intricate it looked like a real palace, would fan herself dramatically with a feather boa and mutter about unprincessly noises. One particularly gloomy day, the rain lashed against the castle walls like a million grumpy gnomes were stomping their tiny boots on the roof. Feeling dejected and misunderstood, Penelope wandered into the royal kitchens, her favorite place, besides the colossal bouncy castle shaped like a giant slice of birthday cake, of course. The royal kitchens were a symphony of delicious chaos. Pots clanging like joyous bells, chefs shouting orders with the authority of a head rooster, and the mouth-watering aroma of freshly baked cookies that could lure a dragon away from a mountain of gold. Here, Penelope found solace in the company of Bartholomew the Bold, the head chef. A man with a booming laugh that could rival the sizzle of hot oil and a handlebar mustache that twitched with amusement, Bartholomew was the complete opposite of the king. He wore a chef's hat that looked suspiciously like a giant mushroom, and his apron, perpetually stained with every color imaginable, evidence of his culinary adventures, seemed to hold the secrets of 1,000 delicious recipes. "Why the glum face, Your Highness?" boomed Bartholomew, his voice as comforting as a warm bowl of soup on a cold day. Sniffling back a tear, Penelope poured out her woes about being different and how her burping talent seemed to embarrass everyone. Bartholomew, wiping a tear of laughter from his eye, because even Penelope's sadness was kind of funny, chuckled heartily, a sound that shook the pots and pans hanging from the ceiling. "Princess," he said, wiping his flour-dusted hands on his apron, "burping isn't just noise, it's a talent, a symphony of the stomach, a concerto of the digestive system. Think of it like a special kind of music." Intrigued, Penelope, with a newfound glint in her eye, decided to embrace her talent. Under Bartholomew's watchful eye and occasional earplugs, she practiced her burps with the dedication of a knight training for a joust. She learned to burp in different pitches, creating a burping orchestra that ranged from the deep rumble of a hungry troll to the high-pitched squeak of a surprised mouse. She practiced rhythms so catchy, they made the kitchen staff tap their feet with glee and the pigeons outside the window bob their heads in time. One day, a terrible dragon named Grog, a fire-breathing beast with a terrible case of indigestion that made him grumpy all the time, attacked Lollipop Lane. The brave knights, armed with lollipops for swords and marshmallows for shields, were no match for Grog's fiery breath. The kingdom trembled, and even the ever-optimistic Bartholomew looked worried, though he did manage to mutter, "Maybe a little baking soda would help that dragon's tummy trouble." Suddenly, Penelope, a mischievous glint in her eye, had an idea. She climbed the tallest tower of the castle, the wind whipping at her hair and the terrified screams of her parents echoing below. Taking a deep breath that caused her cheeks to puff out like a giant blueberry, Penelope unleashed her mightiest burp yet. It was a burp that shook the very foundations of the castle, rattled the windows so hard the stained glass pictures of past kings and queens almost fell out, and most importantly, tickled Grog's funny bones so hard he doubled over with laughter. Fire forgotten, Grog rolled on the ground, tears streaming down his face, clutching his stomach and begging her to stop.